Hi, I'm Daniel Richter and welcome to Strength Log. Today I wanted to share with you 5 ways to progress your training, or if you will, 5 ways to get bigger and stronger. Resistance training is all about increasing the stress on your muscles and thus stimulating them to grow bigger and stronger. It doesn't matter if you train primarily for strength gains or for muscle hypertrophy, you cannot avoid the fundamental principle of placing progressively higher demands on your muscles, often called progressive overload. It is the most important factor of successful training. So with that said, let's go over 5 ways in which you can progress your training, from the most obvious ones to the more uncommon and less obvious ones. Number 1, the most obvious and common method of progression is to simply increase the weight you are using for the same number of sets and reps. For example, if you do 5 sets of 5 reps with a given weight, you increase that weight by 2.5 kilos or 5 pounds for your next workout. This is probably the strategy you should be using for the majority of your training and keep as your main goal. However, you will not always be able to increase the weight with the same number of sets and reps, but you might be able to improve in some other ways, such as number 2, increasing the reps you do at the same weight. If last workout you did 5x5 at 100 kilos in the bench press, that is 25 reps in total. So for today's workout, you could try and do 26 reps over those same 5 sets at the same weight. This strategy works great in conjunction with strategy number 1, for example by using rep goals. For instance, every time you manage to get 5 sets times 5 reps or 3 sets times 10 reps, you increase the weight a little bit for the next workout, and then you stick with that weight until you reach your rep goal again, at which point you increase the weight once again. But what if you can't do neither? Or maybe you can't muster up the motivation to beat the results from your last grueling workout? Well, that brings us to strategy number 3, which is to use set volume as your method of progression. If you did 5 sets of 5 in your last workout, then in today's workout you could do 6 sets of 5 at the same weight. Maybe in a few weeks you will have progressed to 8 sets of 5 at the same weight, at which point you could increase the weight and back down to 5 sets of 5, or maybe even 3 sets of 5, so as to give yourself something of a deload, at which point you could start working yourself up again. But what if you want to use volume as your method of progression, but you still don't want your workouts to expand too much in time? Well, strategy number 4 is to use the same weight, but try to increase the number of reps you can do in a given amount of time. For instance, let's say you use 100 kilos in the bench press and you set your time constraint at 10 minutes. Then, each workout, you try to complete at least 1 more rep in those 10 minutes than you did last workout. When you reach a target number of reps, say 50 reps in 10 minutes, you increase the weight and start over. Strategy number 5 is the last one for today. It is similar, but instead of increasing your reps, you keep your reps constant and instead try to complete all reps in a shorter and shorter amount of time. For example, you might set a goal to complete 50 reps on a given weight as fast as possible, and each workout you try to improve on your time, even if it means only shaving off a few seconds. To get bigger and stronger, you will have to improve your performance over time. There are no shortcuts. However, it is not an easy task, which is why it might be useful to have several methods of progression available to you. That way, you can move between different strategies. You can milk them for as long as possible, and when it runs dry, you switch to another approach. Getting bigger and stronger happens by adding 1 pound or 1 rep at a time, and it takes consistent, difficult, disciplined work that never ceases. And isn't that what we all love about strength training? That's all for today, friends. Be sure to use our app Strength Log to track your training and make sure that you are doing more over time, and gains will come to you. Best of luck in your training, and thank you for listening.